Airport security is supposed to get smoother with all the new tech, but for a lot of travelers, it's doing the opposite. Mixed instructions, random bag pulls, and lines that don't move the way they used to. In this video, we're going to break down what these upgrades actually change at the checkpoint, why the experience feels more inconsistent, and the simple packing and lane moves that keep you moving with fewer surprises. Number 1. The inconsistency trap. Airport security in the US keeps getting upgraded, but the day-to-day experience often feels worse because the rollout is uneven. One checkpoint tells you to leave everything in your bag. The next checkpoint wants your laptop out, your liquids out, and your jacket in a bin. Even inside the same airport, two lanes can run different procedures depending on the equipment in that lane, who's supervising, and what the scanner is currently set to flag. That mismatch is why travelers keep thinking, "This worked last time," and they're not imagining it. If you have more than one checkpoint option in an airport, the closest checkpoint isn't always the fastest. Big hubs can have separate checkpoints by terminal or concourse, and the crowd level can be completely different from one entrance to another. Checking typical wait times in the My TSA app before you leave for the airport can help you choose the calmer route instead of walking straight into the longest line. The hidden rule is that the official written rule can be steady, while the physical experience changes constantly. Liquids limits can stay the same, but the checkpoint might change whether you remove the liquids bag. Shoes can stay on, but you might still be asked to step aside if your footwear triggers something. You can be fully compliant and still get different instructions on different days. The practical way to deal with inconsistency is to pack and dress for the strictest lane, then adjust down if the lane is more modern. Treat your carry-on like it might go through an older 2D X-ray at any moment. Put your liquids pouch somewhere you can reach in 2 seconds. Keep a laptop or tablet in a spot that can slide out without unzipping half your bag. If you have a jacket with a dozen pockets, don't rely on those pockets for storage, because every loose item becomes a "where did I put that" moment at the bins. This is also where upgrades backfire. New technology often arrives before everyone is trained the same way, and it turns normal travelers into guessers. When people guess, they slow down. They stand at the bins, watch the person ahead of them, and wait for instructions instead of moving. You can cut that delay by acting like the line is a system. Listen for the 1 or 2 rules that matter in that lane, follow the signs, and avoid asking the lane to work around you. You're not trying to outsmart security, you're trying to be predictable. Predictable travelers move faster. Number 2. CT scanners. Computed tomography scanners are basically 3D X-ray machines for carry-ons. The idea is straightforward. They produce clearer images so officers can identify items without making everyone unpack. TSA has described a long-term goal of keeping laptops and the 311 liquids bag inside the carry-on during screening. And under current procedures, laptops can often remain in the bag in CT lanes. The catch is that none of this is universal. Many airports still run older machines, and even airports that have CT equipment don't always have it in every lane. You can do one trip where you keep everything packed, and the next trip you're right back to pulling out electronics like it's 2015. Here's the part most people miss. CT scanners don't just remove steps, they change what gets flagged. A dense bag is the classic trigger. If you stack a laptop, an iPad, 2 power banks, a camera battery brick, a pouch of cables, and a thick toiletry kit in one tight block, the scanner sees a dense mass. Dense masses get attention because it's harder to separate shapes and materials. That leads to more bag pulls, more secondary screening, and more time standing to the side while your bag is checked. Packing to reduce CT friction is not complicated. Spread electronics across your bag instead of building a single electronics wall. Keep cables in one pouch, but don't bury that pouch under the heaviest items. If you travel with multiple devices, leave a little air between them. Avoid stacking electronics directly next to thick foods, books, or a big toiletry kit, because the layers blur together on the image. Also, keep the top of your bag clean, meaning the first compartment you open should look organized instead of packed like a junk drawer. When a bag gets pulled, the inspection goes faster when an officer can see what each section is for. Another CT-related issue is that travelers assume the scanner changed what's allowed. It usually doesn't. A modern scanner may let you keep an item inside your bag, but it doesn't automatically raise the liquid limit, and it doesn't guarantee you won't be asked to remove something. The safe habit is to pack so you can do either leave things in when allowed, remove them quickly when required. When the lane instructions change, you change with them, and you avoid the extra screening that happens when the lane thinks you're being creative. One more detail with CT. It's great for security images, but it can be rough on certain sensitive items. If you travel with undeveloped camera film or other scan-sensitive media, keep it separate so you can request an alternate screening method when you reach the belt. That request is easier when the item is already in a clear bag and you ask before it goes into the machine, not after. Number 3, automated lanes. Automated screening lanes, often called ASLs, are the conveyor belt style checkpoints where bins circulate back automatically and multiple people can load at once. They're built to improve flow, and in a lot of airports they do. The downside is that they introduce a new kind of confusion because the lane behaves differently than the old one person loads, then the next person rhythm. In an ASL, the fastest move is usually to claim the next open loading spot and start loading immediately, instead of waiting behind the person in front of you like it's a checkout line. If there's an empty station close to the belt, use it. Your bin goes forward based on the belt, not based on who arrived first. When people don't understand that, they create fake bottlenecks by politely waiting when they don't have to. The upgrade can still make the experience feel worse because it punishes small mistakes. If someone loads loose items directly onto the belt, a coin drops, a phone slides, or a watch gets left behind, and now the lane has to stop. If someone puts a bag on top of a bin lip, it tips, and you get a jam. The system is faster only when travelers are clean and organized. To make automated lanes work for you, keep your loose stuff inside your bag until you reach the tables, then empty your pockets into one place. Don't create 10 tiny items that can scatter. Place shoes, jacket, belt, and small items together if the lane allows it, then put your carry-on right behind that bin. When your bins pop out on the other side, your things are grouped, you can rebuild your pockets quickly, and you're not blocking the exit tables. That one behavior is a simple airport secret that helps everyone, because ASLs move fast until the pickup area gets clogged. Number 4, shoes stay on. One upgrade that sounds like an obvious win is the end of the shoes off routine at standard domestic checkpoints, a change that rolled out nationwide in 2025. It removes a step that used to create bottlenecks, people sitting down, untying boots, and blocking the lane while they put everything back on. That's the good news. The not so good news is that shoes on doesn't mean no friction. Shoes can still be screened, and if something triggers an alarm, you can still be pulled for extra checks. Thick soles, heavy boots, and footwear with a lot of metal can still slow you down. And because shoes used to be the main annoying step, when that step disappears, the focus shifts harder onto everything else. Pockets, belts, dense carry-ons, and identity checks. So the travel tip is simple. Still dress like you might need to move quickly. Wear shoes that are easy to take off if you're asked, but don't automatically remove them unless the officer or signs tell you to. Keep your belt simple or skip it. Avoid piling on metal accessories. If you wear a jacket, empty it before you reach the belt, because a jacket full of stuff is basically a bag inside a bag, and that creates extra questions. The upgrade removes one old problem, but it doesn't replace the need to be clean and predictable at the checkpoint. Number 5, liquids are still a mess. The 3-1-1 liquids rule is still the same core rule. Containers of 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters or less in 1 quart-size clear bag, 1 bag per traveler, with exceptions for things like medically necessary liquids and certain infant and child items. What has changed is how often you physically remove that bag. Some CT lanes let you keep it in your carry-on. Other lanes still want it out, and older X-ray lanes are more likely to want it out. That creates the same inconsistency problem all over again. Travelers pack the same way, but the lane reacts differently. The part that causes the most surprise is how TSA defines a liquid. It's not just water or shampoo. Anything that spreads, smears, sprays, gels, or pours can get treated as a liquid. That includes common travel stuff like toothpaste, sunscreen, hair gel, and some foods like peanut butter or hummus. So if you travel with creamy snacks, dips, or thick spreads, treat them like liquids and keep them inside the 3-1-1 setup. A smart approach is to build a liquid setup that works in every lane. Use real travel-size containers that are clearly sized. Keep them in a clear bag that is actually easy to open and close, not a bag that turns into a wrestling match. Put that pouch near the top of your carry-on so you can pull it out fast if asked, then put it back fast without a full repack. If you want to cut liquid drama, switch to solid versions when possible. Bar soap, solid deodorant, shampoo bars, and stick sunscreen. There's also a useful edge case that's fully within the rules. Frozen liquids can go through the checkpoint if they are frozen solid at screening. If it's slushy or melted with liquid at the bottom, it's treated like a liquid again. That means a fully frozen bottle or an ice pack can sometimes pass where a liquid bottle would not, but only if it stays solid. It's not a trick, it's just how the rule is written, and it only works when you do it correctly. Number 6. Powders and dense items. If your bag gets pulled even when you followed the liquids rule, powders are a common reason. TSA guidance says powder-like substances in carry-on baggage greater than 12 ounces, or 350 milliliters, may require additional screening, and at some checkpoints, you'll be asked to remove them and place them in a separate bin. Think protein powder, baby powder, powdered makeup, large spice containers, drink mixes, and certain dry foods. The easiest packing move is also the cleanest. If you don't need a big powder container during the flight, put it in checked baggage. If you do need it with you, place it somewhere accessible so you can pull it out quickly without opening every zipper you own. Keep the container sealed and clearly labeled, because unlabeled powders invite questions and slow down inspection. Dense food is another silent time killer. Big blocks of food, thick spreads, and tightly packed snacks can look like a single dense mass on a scanner, especially when they're wrapped tightly. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It just means the image is harder to interpret, so a bag check becomes more likely. If you're carrying food, separate it from your electronics. Put it in one compartment and keep it easy to lift out if asked. You're helping the officer clear your bag quickly, which is how you avoid the upgrade turning into a slow manual search. Number 7. Battery rules got stricter. Lithium batteries are treated like a safety issue, not just a nuisance, because if they overheat or catch fire, the risk is higher in the cargo hold, where no one can respond quickly. That's why spare lithium batteries and power banks are prohibited in checked baggage and must travel in your carry-on. The annoying part is that carry-on can change at the gate. If your carry-on gets gate checked because the overhead bins are full, you're expected to remove spare batteries and power banks before the bag goes below the plane. So, build a battery system that is easy to manage. Keep all spare batteries and power banks in one small pouch near the top of your bag. Don't toss loose batteries in random pockets. Protect battery terminals from short circuits by using original packaging, a protective case, or separate sleeves. If you travel with a bigger power bank, check its watt-hour rating and your airline's limits, because airlines can have specific caps even when TSA screening allows the item. Certain travel gadgets can also surprise people. Cordless hair tools that are powered by lithium batteries or fueled by butane or gas cartridges are generally limited to carry-on baggage, not checked baggage, and they often need a safety cover to prevent accidental activation. If you travel with anything that includes a fuel cartridge, treat it as a check-first item. If you pack it wrong, it can cause delays, extra screening, or a forced decision at the checkpoint. The upgrade story here is simple. Safety rules are getting sharper, and the best way to avoid problems is to keep batteries organized and easy to show. Number 8. ID rules got sharper. Since May 7th, 2025, state-issued driver's licenses and IDs that are not real, ID compliant, are no longer accepted for domestic flights, unless you present another acceptable form of ID like a passport or a trusted traveler card. That's already a major shift for travelers who used to assume any driver's license would work. In 2026, there's an extra twist, the TSA Confirm ID option. If you arrive at the checkpoint without an acceptable ID, You can pay a fee, and TSA will attempt to verify your identity so you can proceed, but it's designed as a last resort, not a normal workflow. Confirm ID is designed to cover a short window of travel, and it's priced to discourage people from treating it as a normal routine. If you know you're missing acceptable ID, paying ahead of time is better than trying to do it at the airport while the line is moving. Either way, expect extra time, because identity verification is not the same thing as normal screening. This matters because identity problems don't just slow one person down, they slow the whole checkpoint. An extra verification step means extra staff time, extra waiting, and more unpredictability, especially during busy travel periods. If you're the traveler stuck in that process, you can miss your flight even if you did everything else right. The best travel habit is boring but powerful. Treat ID like your boarding pass. Check it the night before. Make sure the name on your ticket matches the name on your ID. Don't rely on a temporary paper license because it's typically not accepted as an ID at the checkpoint. If your ID is expired, TSA has allowed certain IDs to be used for a period after expiration, but you still don't want to be the person testing the edge of the policy on a tight schedule. When you can, travel with a backup option, like a passport card or passport, especially if you fly often. Also note a couple of details people get wrong. TSA has stated it currently accepts some forms of expired ID for a limited period after expiration, and children under 18 generally aren't required to show ID for domestic travel, although airlines can still have their own rules for minors and unaccompanied travelers. Those details don't remove the real ID requirement for adults, but they can matter in last-minute situations. Number 9. Digital ID and face checks. Some airports now accept digital identity options, like mobile driver's licenses in Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, and TSA has expanded identity tools that can include facial comparison at certain checkpoints. The pitch is convenience. Fewer handoffs, faster ID podium flow, fewer points where the line stalls. The reality is mixed because digital acceptance is not universal. It varies by airport, terminal, and sometimes even checkpoint, and you'll usually find out only when you see signage or an agent directs you into that lane. That's why digital ID can feel like an upgrade that makes things worse. If you show up expecting to use your phone and the lane doesn't support it, you lose time switching plans. If your phone battery is low, if your screen is cracked, or if your wallet app needs a quick update, you've created a new failure point at the exact moment you need everything to work. And if you're traveling with family or a group, one person's tech issue can stall everyone behind them. Treat digital ID like a convenience layer, not a replacement. Carry your physical ID anyway. Keep your phone charged and accessible, but don't build your entire travel day around a feature that may or may not be available at your specific checkpoint. If you're uncomfortable with biometric tools, TSA has described facial comparison at checkpoints as voluntary in many cases, with an alternative process available when you opt out. The trade-off is practical. Opting out may add time depending on how the checkpoint is staffed and how the lane is organized. If you want to use digital ID, check the participating state list and the airport list in advance, then still carry your physical ID as backup. For face-based options like touchless identity lanes, the simplest approach is to decide ahead of time whether you're comfortable using it. If you're not, ask to opt out early and do the manual check, because arguing at the front of the line is the fastest way to turn a small preference into a big delay. Number 10. Make the upgrades work for you. The fastest way through security in 2026 is not a secret hack. It's reducing the reasons your bag or body gets flagged and reducing the time it takes to respond when something needs extra screening. Start before you leave home. Check typical wait times on the My TSA app so you're not guessing. Use TSA's What Can I Bring database for anything you're unsure about. And if your item is unusual, use Ask TSA so you can get an answer before you're stressed at the checkpoint. Ask TSA is also useful when you're looking at a product online and you're not sure how it's classified, because TSA classification is often about form and behavior, not about what you call the item. Then pack your carry-on like a checkpoint kit. Put your liquids bag where you can reach it fast. Keep powders either under the 12-ounce threshold or ready to pull out. Separate dense items. Food in one spot, electronics in another. Spread your electronics so they don't form one dense block. Keep spare batteries and power banks in one pouch at the top of the bag so you can remove them quickly if a gate agent forces a last-second check of your carry-on. If you travel with medication, medical liquids, or medical devices, keep them together and easy to declare if asked, because digging for them looks messy and wastes time. At the checkpoint, your goal is to avoid becoming the person who creates a pause. Empty pockets early. Hold your ID ready until the officer tells you you're done with the identity step. Follow the lane instructions even if they're different from your last trip. If the lane says, "Everything in the bag," keep it in the bag. If the lane says, "Large electronics out," don't gamble that the scanner is CT and try to leave it in. Listen, move, and keep your items grouped so you can rebuild your pockets fast on the other side. One more airport secret that matters. Don't rebuild your whole life at the end of the belt. Step away from the immediate pickup zone as soon as you have your essentials in your hands, then finish reorganizing at a bench or a repack table. That keeps the exit area clear, which reduces the pileups that make security feel chaotic. Remember that some upgrades are support tools, not machines. If you need extra time or assistance because of a medical condition, a disability, or simply anxiety around screening, TSA Cares can arrange help with a passenger support specialist when you request it in advance. It doesn't bypass rules, it just helps you move through them with less friction. Keep the TSA Cares contact info saved and request assistance at least 72 hours ahead when you need it. And keep Ask TSA saved too, so you can check a questionable item before you pack it. That removes the guessing that causes the slowdowns.